send our thoughts and our well wishes to the family of Chris Snow. Chris Snow is the AGM of the Calgary Flames. He was diagnosed with ALS in 2019. The doctors gave him less than a year to live. He survived for nearly 5. Really tough. He's definitely an inspiration. A fun fact about him, I just found this out the other day. His first day at the beat for the Minnesota Tribune or something like that was the story. He was literally getting his paperwork done to get the job when Herb Brooks died in a car crash, and that was his first ever story. So, yeah, he cut his teeth doing various newspaper work. He worked for the Boston Globe, was the Red Sox beat reporter, and just really sad story. So, we did link earlier this week the GoFundMe for Kelsey Snow and the Snow family. If you're able to help out, the hockey community, definitely do so. But if not, just give it a share. But our thoughts are with the Snow family and the Calgary Flames organization. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to episode 7, 8. Chris, help me out here.
Who knows anymore?
Number 8. That's what my little
One of these
notepad
fucking
says.
numbers. All right. So we're at some episode number. Look, we've been down our main audio producer. Chris has filled in for the past 6 weeks, so we're vibing. Season 2's off to a phenomenal start.
Zach needs to figure it out. Get a new laptop.
We got the boys here. We're back again. Same crew as always. Happy to be back though. We are just mere weeks away from starting the hockey season. Got a good show for y'all today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Stamkos situation down there in Tampa Bay. I almost said Bampatay. My brain forgot how to work. We got the Trevor Zegras news for his contract. We'll just touch upon that quick. There's a couple contracts actually, but we'll just kind of breeze through those because we've got a big PowerPoint presentation from our boy with the broken glass. Story to come later. As we've got our divisional previews, we did a quick kind of are they a pretender or contender a few weeks back. Now we're going to get a little bit more into the meat and potatoes of it, talk a bit about teams, divisional, see what we're going into. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Hey, so you'll notice that we're not joined by anybody from Canada, and you know why that is? I know we're a hockey podcast, but we are also focused in Pittsburgh. It's because fuck Canada. Fuck them.
I mean, I don't support Pittsburgh in any way. I'm just here. I just got roped in here. Go Avs. Anyway.
He needs.
I'd like to point out.
What's he doing? I can't get upset over preseason hockey because I'm too upset over regular season football, and we're 4 weeks in.
Okay, so all right, so no, Chris and I have a little bit of bone to pick. I said this yesterday. I was standing in line for ice cream, and you pissed me off. So first of all, I want to talk
at least you're in line for ice cream.
Chris, okay. I just want to say, I agree. So we're both Steelers fans. I took it personally. I wore this today for that. I usually wear a jersey. I'm wearing my Steelers shirt for this. Listen, can we just agree? Fuck Matt Canada.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're a hockey show, but we're also a Pittsburgh show, as Chris said. Fuck Matt Canada. There's never been a more universally despised coach. What does he even do?
He gets promoted to a quarterback's coach and then decides to injure his quarterback.
Why are we calling a shotgun and letting our fucking quarterback get blown up
on 4th and 1?
Our rookie O lineman lost a block. Thanks, Matt Canada.
But yeah, I know the other point that I made that I know you didn't agree with was
let's hear it.
Was talking about I'm starting to not like Kenny Pickett either. And I think you did make a good point with if he's not being utilized correctly, he's not going to look good. But I also still stand a little by the statistics I brought up, where he has 11 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. He's got accuracy problems.
I get it. He's not.
He doesn't have accuracy problems. He has eye problems. He's throwing it to the wrong team.
He's not the most adept at making short passes, but he's not he's made 2 70-yard touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
He's a gunslinger. Listen, we don't need him to be deadly accurate. He's got George Pickens, who's got the toolbox to make good catches. He's basically got Antonio Brown without the insanity. And he's got a good little supporting cast. Can I just start a war with one more NFL player before we move on to hockey?
Yeah.
Fuck Chase Claypool. Another team, this guy can't. He's in Matt Eberflus's offense, which is not good objectively. Matt Eberflus sucks too. But you're bopping around from team to team. Nobody wants you. I mean, maybe the Chiefs will pick him up as like a flyer, but fuck Chase Claypool. I can't stand him. Anyway, this has been our moment in the sun.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I don't like any Pennsylvania team, even though I actively live in Pennsylvania and always have.
And then my last little bit was, it was so frustrating that the Texans' Steve Nelson came out and was like, oh yeah, I knew exactly when they were going to go for that Austin third touchdown throw, because they set it up exactly like they did in Las Vegas. It's like, yeah, because they were like, Canada was like, oh, look, this play scored. We'll just keep doing it because, yeah, nobody's going to expect that.
I'm going to die on this hill. Najee Harris is not a feasible top 25 running back in the NFL. He's just not he's not that guy.
Yeah, your old line is not that guy.
Yeah,
that's also true.
The run game
can be true.
No, the run game. You know what's sad? The run game's gotten better.
When it comes to running backs, you cannot, unless you are Derrick Henry, you cannot expect great performance without an offensive line. The Steelers, and I have said this as a football fan in general, over the past 5 years, even before they drafted Najee Harris, Roll Tide, I love him. He needs a line. Just like how their quarterback needs a line to protect them, they need a line that can create space for any running back. You can do this, that, or the other thing. If you don't have a line, you're going to be bad. And the Steelers don't have a line, therefore, they are bad. End of story.
No, it's not end of story. Because look at what Jalen Warren does. Jalen Warren's outproducing Najee Harris in that type of play.
And?
Listen, I'm not saying Najee Harris is bad. I'm not saying Najee Harris is bad. He's just not a feasible running back he can't be the main guy at a contender. He has to be platooned. He cannot be the only one guy. He doesn't know how to run straight. He decides to run this way and 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 this way, but he never goes that way. Like, I don't. Okay, no, we're off topic. We're off topic. Agree to disagree. We're not having another fucking Evan Rodriguez situation. We're getting the goddamn hockey.
I will go.
Anyways,
you have challenged me with Evan Rodriguez, and now you're deciding to just challenge me with Alabama alumni in the NFL. I will kill you.
Yeah. So into hockey, we've got our divisional look. So Chris, fire your PowerPoint away. Let's get your PowerPoint up, and we'll give our. I am not as prepared already.
As a reminder, we do still have audio only, so we should still really over-explain some stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm just glad I'm glad this presentation gets to see the light of YouTube.
To our lovely audio listeners, that you can finally listen to audio again. By the way, Chris is going to have a PowerPoint presentation, but we will gladly elaborate on it. And
do you want to watch it? Pull up YouTube.
Yeah. I also just almost fell over. I don't know if anybody caught that. I literally just tripped over nothing. So, if I could make it through the show, it'd be great. I like the font. I use the same exact font for school.
I feel like I can already see this being on a commercial for the NHL.
I gotta rearrange my screens because I've only got 2.
I feel like we're in a very informal college class already.
Is this what Zoom was like for the tail end of
yes.
your time in college?
The answer is yes. Yes, it was.
That's awful.
Yes, it was. Especially when you're trying to talk about music education and it goes from, hey, here's how you do everything, to here's how you theoretically would do something, and here's how it looks. It's terrible.
I hate when it does this. All right, we're going to go with it. All right.
So we'll just kind of go around the horn. Chris, since you've got the captaincy jersey on today, I'll let you go first. I'll take second note, and Adam, you can be our what's the end of a train called?
Caboose.
Bro, I am this.
You are not having it. You are not having it today, dude.
I am just. It's been a busy day. I went to 5 stores.
You had a busy day.
I went to 5 stores.
I got home from work at 8:30 at night.
And I'm a teacher. Assign a clarinet as homework. I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
So as we go through this, these are all ones that I put together. Yesterday, Sunday, something like that. So the list is based off of what I think, and then Adam and Chris are just gonna chime in with their thoughts. If any of my takes are too hot or extremely uninformed, we'll get to that when we get to the West. So 2024 Stanley Cup Playoff way too early predictions, starting with the Atlantic Division. I think Toronto's going to lead that division, followed closely relatively closely by the Florida Panthers. The Tampa Bay Lightning were going to be higher, and then we heard about Andrei Vasilevsky's injury. The Buffalo Sabres, I think, are going to come in 4th and clinch a wild card spot. I think Boston's still going to be 5th because they have Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman in net. It's going to be very tough to beat them, even if they don't score a whole lot. Excuse me. And then following up at the end, Detroit. I really like what I see in Detroit, but I think I'm a very lone minority there, and I don't think a whole lot of people that know more about hockey than me are very high up on Detroit. So I've got to kind of go with that and say they're going to come down in 6th. And then you've got Ottawa and Montreal. I'm aware of what I just witnessed on TV, but that was the preseason. Doesn't count. So I still think Ottawa's going to have some problems. Jonas Korpisalo, I think, has a bit of the Bobrovsky syndrome, which is some nights it's really good. Other nights, not so good. And then rounding it out, Montreal Canadiens, they've got their own problems. They're still working through it. We talked about this in the Rafters, Drafters, and Laughers. Still working through it. So what do you guys think of my Atlantic Division standings?
Repeat it one more time from top to bottom now that I have a visual.
All right. So repeating top to bottom for audio. 1, Toronto. 2, Florida Panthers. 3, Tampa Bay. 4, Buffalo. 5, Boston. 6, Detroit. 7, Ottawa. 8, Montreal.
I like it. I think it's going to be a little bit of a ring to it. Yeah, no, I think you're on the right track with it, honestly.
So for my own perspective, and this is conversations that I've heard in a lot of hockey talk radio and a lot of podcasts that I listen to myself, I can see it turning out your way. I don't necessarily agree with the order. I personally would not put Ottawa that low.
Yeah.
I would put Ottawa ahead of Detroit because I like what Ottawa's doing more than Detroit is yet. But I'll get into my list so far. You have to keep in mind, with all the things that Boston lost, they were 135 points this past season.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to be 135 points this year by a long stretch.
No.
Losing Krejci and Bergeron and having a change in the guard and everything like that, if they eclipsed 100 points this upcoming season, it will, in my opinion, be a miracle. So let's just say conservatively, they have 30 less points. That's 30 more points that everyone else in the Atlantic can have. So that being said, I'm going to say my number 1's Toronto. My number 2, I'm going to say my sleeper is Buffalo. I'm putting Buffalo all the way up at 2 because I do not believe in the Florida Panthers as a regular season team to get it done. I have Florida at 3. And at number 4, I have Tampa Bay because I think they're really going to be hurting without Vasilevsky. I could be 100% wrong, and Tampa Bay can still finish number 2, and I would not be shocked. Number 5, I'm going to say is going to be Ottawa. Number 6, I think, is going to be Boston. I think Boston's going to drop like a goddamn sack of bricks in the river this past season. And then I'm going to have the end of the division be the same it was this year, but not as lopsided. It's going to be Detroit, followed by Montreal.
Everybody's going to be a little closer.
Yeah, I think the highest point total that you're going to see in the Atlantic this year is going to be Toronto around like the high 110s. I think everyone else is going to be around 100 to like. I think the lowest point total, Montreal, will still eclipse the 70s. It's not going to be a joke division. It's going to be a very close division in the middle 6. It's going to be Toronto, middle 6, Montreal.
Yeah, the Atlantic's still going to be competitive, and I would definitely argue that, 2 through 7 could look any different way.
You could show me a looking glass view into what the 2024 playoffs are actually going to be, and any amalgamation of teams 2 through 7 would make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think that's a good list.
So that's a fun division to look at because, like we said, it's not clear cut. It's not like the Central where these are your top teams.
Yeah, and it's like this with the Metro as well, where like every team has this thing where they're either getting massively better and they're super exciting to watch, or they are refusing to regress and fall off.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the ones refusing to regress and fall off are starting to drop off, but they're still sticking around, especially in the Met.
but they're still massively competitive.
So
yeah.
for my Atlantic teams, I've got Toronto at the top. I had to write it down somewhere. I have Toronto at the top. I think that's pretty easy. Buffalo is also my number 2 team. I'm a big believer in them as well, so I was kind of interested that you had them there as well. I still have Tampa third because I think really the first 2 months it's a feeler anyways. So I actually have a kind of a dark horse here. I'll explain myself at the end, but I have Detroit here in 4. I have Florida dropping to 5 because I just don't think they're going to be a good regular season team, but they might squeak in depending on a wild card. Ottawa 6, Boston 7, and Montreal at a distant 8. Ottawa, Boston can flip flop for me. Honestly, I don't really care either way, but I just think Ottawa's got more talent, and I just don't know about the health of Boston. The only one I'll have to justify here personally, I feel, is Detroit. Simply put, I just like their goaltending better than Florida. I like what they have. It's more stable, my personal opinion, and they've gotten marginally better each year. Florida, I don't know. It's going to largely depend on if it's Spencer Knight's crease and how he bounces back, and if Bob's going to be the guy. So I don't know if that's my Atlantic though.
I 100% could see it happening too.
Yeah. So
yeah. Now, unrelated question, just because I'm watching the stream. Chris, are you still on your title screen of 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs?
No.
Yeah, I see the same thing.
Yeah, I see it on 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. You might want to change it in some way.
Let me. There it
is.
Hey,
there it is. All right, cool.
All right,
now
we're just gonna do it from this. We're just gonna do it from this. I will fix it in editing.
All right, on to the Metro. On to the Met.
To zoom in, we won't do presentation anymore.
Are we gonna do all 4? Or are we just doing the East today?
No, we can do all 4.
Yeah, I think we can do all 4. So
yeah, we got it.
Going alphabetically. Next, we've got the Central. I'm sorry. The last thing I had for the Atlantic was, I honest to goodness don't see both wildcard teams coming from the Atlantic in the East. I think it's going to be a 1-1 split or entirely from the Met.
I think it's the Metro too, but we'll see.
See, I think both are going to come Atlantic. I don't think you can deny both Ottawa coming up and the reigning, not reigning, but 2-time Cup champion in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And the Stanley Cup appearance, Florida Panthers, a playoff spot.
I mean, they barely squeaked in this past year.
Yeah, they made it to the final. They're a great playoff team, but getting there is the problem.
So looking at the Central, starting off number 1, Colorado Avalanche. I put them there because of who they went out and got. I know they're not going to be with. They're going to be without Landeskog for the rest of the season. Hopefully, he still has a career in him. Hopefully, but I don't think it resumes this season. But I liked what they went out and got. I liked that they went out and got Tatar. So I still have high hopes for them. I think it's going to be close, but I think Dallas is going to be a close second. And then third, Minnesota. So that shakes out like it did last year in the top 3. But only because those are the teams that I think are actually competitive in the Central. Number 4, I've got the St. Louis Blues. I don't know, man. 4 through 8 is just kind of a crapshoot. And St. Louis,
I can get a little more in depth for you in a second, but
St. Louis, I think at least still has some fight, even if it's not going to be there every time. Their goaltender certainly has plenty of fight for the nights that he'll be out there. 5, Nashville, even though they're ones that sort of started selling off, I really, UC Saros is still there. I think they are going to be good enough to land themselves in the middle of the division. Then the Winnipeg Jets, again, good enough to land themselves in that part of the division, but not really do much more. Followed by Arizona Coyotes, and then followed by the Blackhawks, because Bedard may go out and score a whole bunch, but like the dead horse we've beat before, he's only got Taylor Hall as a notable line mate. So it's going to be tough to see Chicago do much more. And Chicago fans, it's not bad to be in the bottom of the division for a second year in a row, because you're still going to get good draft picks that help support Bedard. So, you kind of sit down there and you take your beatings in the bottom of your division, bottom of the league for a couple of years, and you're happier in the long run.
Well put.
I think that those are some pretty good shouts, honestly. Not as much as what we just covered with the Atlantic, but for the Central, just like you've seen over the past couple years, you could tell me any order of Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota for 1, 2, and 3, and I will believe you. It's as simple as that. If you told me today, because if you look at last year's rankings, Colorado had 109 points, Dallas had 108, and Minnesota had 103. Dallas looks just as good as they've been, so I don't see them dropping off. Minnesota is developing, so I could see them making a surge and getting the Central title. And Colorado, I like the moves that they've made. There's still a bit of there's less of a question mark at the number 2 center position than there was last year going in at this time, because we at least have a guy who's certified that he can play number 2 center as opposed to somebody who we think can, with having Ryan Johansson this year as opposed to JT Compher. I like some of the other additions that Colorado made with getting Jonathan Drouin. The experiment with getting him with McKinnon, at least preseason-wise, looks to be working. We'll see how it works in the regular season. I like it. I like the moves that they made. Cool. So you can tell me Colorado 1, 2, or 3, Dallas 1, 2, or 3, Minnesota 1, 2, or 3. I'll believe you all day. But going outside of 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to say number 4 on my list is... I'm going to say Nashville for me. Number 4, I've got Nashville. I just like Nashville as a team, playing-wise, a little bit better than St. Louis. Also, I just hate Jordan Binnington, so he could never make the playoffs again in his life, and I would think that that's great. Throw a bottle at Nazem Kadri one more time, I dare you.
That's right. I don't have St. Louis going to the playoffs. They don't have the little star.
Yeah. Nashville, if there is going to be a wild card rep from the Central, I think it's going to be Nashville this year. Nashville, and then I'm going to say St. Louis. Very much St. Louis has a decent team. I just don't think that they have an identity quite anymore as they did when they had their cup run in 2018 and 19 season. I don't think that they have that St. Louis identity. They don't have that wow factor. Granted, that was a Cinderella story team, and I don't see Cinderella showing up at this ball right now. So after St. Louis, I'm going to say at 6, Arizona. I like what Arizona has done developmentally. I think that they're going to take a step forward than 70 points. I don't think you're going to see them be a bottom feeder. They just need to learn how to play away games. If you watch their home and away splits, man, Mullet Arena is magic for the Arizona Coyotes. And if they can just figure out how to play away hockey, they're going to be real good. But still not a playoff team. Number 7, I'm going to put Winnipeg down here. I think that they take a massive step back, and I think you're going to see Hellebuck get traded throughout the season, and they're going to take a massive, massive step back and go into full-on rebuild. And at number 8, I'm going to put Chicago. They're going to be a more competitive team than 59 points gave them this year, but you only have Connor Bedard and you have Taylor Hall, and I guess you can throw Athanasiou in the mix because he's looked really good in preseason, but it's preseason. I don't like what Chicago has yet. They have some really exciting prospects in the fact that they have Connor Bedard. Congratulations. Get some more. Keep staying at the bottom of the league, develop it, and you guys will be back in dynasty mode, no problem.
Well, and their goaltenders are Peter Mrazek and who?
Congratulations. You've just picked 2 random goalies off of NHL 23 franchise mode.
Yeah,
and you have the Chicago Blackhawks.
I don't need to look at the score line to be able to tell you you're going to lose. Like, you're gonna get outscored every night.
Your number 1 defenseman is an overpaid Seth Jones. I don't want to hear anything.
Connor Bedard could have over 100 points. I'm not saying he is, but he could have over 100 points, and you're still going to lose every night.
Yeah, honestly, I could see that. I could see him eclipsing 100 and the team getting 65 points in the rankings.
You know that joke where it's like, and he makes the bucket and he cuts the score from 77 to 50 to 77 to 51.
Yep.
Yeah, so my rankings kind of similar to Adam's actually. Again, really odd. So I agree on it wholeheartedly. I can't really say I have a clear cut winner, 1, 2, or 3. So any pick you want, I have Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. I think that's pretty well cut. Number 4, I also have Nashville, which I think just because UC Soros and Philip Forsberg should
And
be better,
Roman Yossi.
and the Holy
Put some
Roman
respect
Empire.
on that man's
I
name.
wanted to make this title the Holy Roman Empire, and I'm glad I found a way to fit them in there.
Yeah.
Number 5, I actually have the Yotes. I think they're a wagon. I think they've got just enough of that chutzpah to get them through. Logan Cooley's going to be good. Vizmalka's a good goalie. They've got the emergence of some defense. We'll see if JJ Moser can keep it up. I think they might sneak in. I'm not saying it's a sure thing, but I could see them sneaking into a 5 spot. St. Louis, I do see taking a dramatic drop off. I just don't think their goaltending is good enough, and they're just getting older. They really didn't do a whole heck of a lot. So kind of the shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic, if you ask me. I have Winnipeg in 7th. I just, like Adam said, they're going to trade Hellebuck at some point, presumably. And if they don't,
They're going to lose him
good.
anyway.
They're going to lose him anyway. So, and same thing with Shifley. So I don't know. I don't like what they have as is, and it's only going to get worse. And then it's Chicago. I mean, I'm not going to go any further on that. So we can just flip the page.
Yep. So alphabetically, next up is the Met.
Talk.
Flip my page back.
Hey, yo.
So looking at the Met, again, just to read it out, I've got number 1, New Jersey Devils. I said this during Rafters, Drafters, and Laughers. I think the Met is New Jersey's division to lose. I think that they're going to be the best team this year. They're young. Best in the league, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. But they're young. They're exciting to watch. They seem to play a really good game every time they play Pittsburgh, and they seem to bring that game to other teams as well. So I think they're going to be top of the division, absolutely top of the Met. Don't know about top of the league, but it's a strong argument for. Second is going to be the Carolina Hurricanes, so I think that's going to shake out similar to this past season, just flipped. Because Carolina just, again, the way that they play under Rod Brindamore is just offensive onslaught after wave after wave after wave. And it is really tough to play against. Pretty much the opposite of the New York Islanders. And then third, Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, this is absolutely biased. I'll admit that's definitely biased, but I think with going out and getting some defensemen that are more offensive and more defensive, you went out and you got some bottom 6 wingers that are more defensive, more capable of playing hockey than the ones you had before. You've got to take a step up. And they've got to make it. I think they can make it into third. I don't think they're going to make it into the top spot unless something happens to New Jersey's goaltending or some of their top 6. But I think 3 is a good spot for the Penguins given what they've done. Fourth, I've got the New York Rangers. To me, it looked like a lot of what they did was go out and get people that are older. I know they went out and they got Blake Wheeler. Who's to say that they're not going to find a way to sign Kane to a not $10 million deal and bring him back just because, hey, they had him last. And then number 5, New York Islanders. Oh, sorry. For the New York Rangers, I do have them making the playoffs. So they're the second... actually, I think I had them as the first wild card for the East, but we'll get to that. They're one of the wild card teams. Fifth, the New York Islanders. You have to respect the New York Islanders in the game that they play, but it's not an offensive game. It's entirely defensive. All they do is stave off losses. Number 6, the Washington Capitals. We've talked about it before, but they're trying to build a team around Ovechkin, and it's not working. So you also had that stuff from Kuznetsov about Kuznetsov wants out because anybody that seems to want to be here gets traded, and anybody that doesn't want to be here gets drug along for the ride. So that organization's starting to sound a little too negative. 7, the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they're going to take a step forward. They're not going to be the easy to beat team that they have been. And I know you guys are real high on them, so I wouldn't be surprised if you end up putting Columbus higher than I've got them. And then bottom of the Met, maybe the basement of the league, Philadelphia
in their
Flyers.
own division.
What did I say?
I said in their own division.
Oh yeah, in their own division, as basement dwellers. The Philadelphia Flyers. Bring in the new era of basement.
Listen,
All right, Adam.
I'm just looking at last year's standings, and Philly did finish like 16 points ahead of Columbus. But anyway.
I'll say it. Columbus is going to bridge that gap.
Yeah, fair enough. So for my order, at least in terms of rankings, in my opinion, yes, I do think the Devils are going to finish 1, but I think Carolina is a little bit closer than I think you're giving them credit for, Chris. If you told me right now that Carolina wins the Met, I'd believe it. They just won it this year. I do think that New Jersey is going to take another step forward after getting that.
Well, I mean, because Carolina just won it by
success.
Yeah, Carolina just won it by what, like 1 or 2 points?
1 point.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, I think New Jersey's going to take that.
I'm looking at the rankings from last year. I am using that to guide myself, but I'm not going just like, oh, it's going to be the same. It was 1 point, and it was the difference of Carolina had one more overtime loss. That was it, and that's like chump change at that point.
Yeah.
So either one of them can finish 1 or 2, and I will believe you. But I'm going to say for my rankings, I'm going to agree New Jersey 1, Carolina 2. I really like the whole team game that both teams are working with. I love the prospects that they have in New Jersey that are really up and coming. I just think that it's nothing but excitement out of Carolina and New Jersey. Either one of them could win a Stanley Cup any one of these coming years, and I would believe you. If you told me right now that this year New Jersey wins it and next year Carolina wins it, all right, cool. I'll believe it. I'll put $5 down right now. Call me Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2. Anyway, so at number 3, I'm still going to put the Rangers. I don't think, not necessarily that I don't think they're going to take a step back. I just don't think that anyone's going to push them out of their spot yet. At number 4, I'm going to have Pittsburgh. My path for Pittsburgh to the playoffs is one thing and one thing only. It's the wild card. That is it. That's my only opinion on how the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to pull it off this year. I just think that it's too top heavy in the Met for Pittsburgh to get in it any other way unless the Rangers have some kind of falling out and their offense just stops working, or their defense becomes a sieve, or you see Shesterkin either get hurt or look as bad and useful as a bag of bricks, which I don't think you're going to see that really happen. It's Shesterkin. But Pittsburgh, I think, is going to finish at 4. If they make it, they're going to be a wild card. Either wild card 1 or wild card 2. It doesn't matter in my mind. They're going to be in there, I think. Number 5, I think you're going to see the Islanders. I don't like their game in today's NHL. They need to get more offense. Number 6, I'm actually going to put Philly ahead of Washington. I'm going to say Philly at number 6 because I think that the Met is going to be a very bottom-heavy and very top-heavy division. I don't think they're going to be very good. Don't get me wrong. They could finish like 75 points again.
It's going to be a nice like 25, 30-point gap between the bottom 4 and the top 4.
It's going to be top 3 are all above 100. Number 4 and 5 are going to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
And everyone else is going to be sub 75, I think. But anyway, number 6, I'm going to put Philly just because I think that as you see the change in the guard in Philly's head office, it's going to trickle down throughout the season. I really like what Jones and Briere are doing already in Philadelphia. It is going to take some time, but as the non-Penguins perspective of it, I like Philly a lot more than I like Columbus going into just next year. Long-term success, I like Columbus more right now than Philly, but next year's competition, I like Philly. So Philly I have at 6. For what I just said, I have Columbus at 7, and I think you're going to see Washington take the biggest hit of all, and they're going to finish 8th in the division.
That'll send a message for sure.
Good. Yeah. I don't differ too much, although the one thing I am going to separate from the pack on is I still have Carolina top billing for the Metro. I think that the one advantage they do have over New Jersey is their goaltending. I'm not worried about Carolina's goaltending. It's not like a sexy goaltending, but they're good. New Jersey's kind of like we'll
But
see.
they're injury prone.
Yeah, but what threw me off with Carolina too was, remember during the Rafters Drafters Laugher segment, we looked at their defense, and it was Brent Burns and somebody else that can't play defense.
Tony D'Angelo. Look,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. It doesn't really matter if you can score your way out of it. So, anyways, I got Carolina's number one. Jersey is a very close second for me. Could really flip flop again. I'm not really sold one way or the other, but if I had to place a bet right now, I'd say Carolina. I've actually got the Rangers third. I think just behind Shesterkin. I mean, they've got a good enough forward core. Lafreniere brings enough this year, I think, where he is that contributing factor they think he could be. Capo Caco takes a step, and their decor is good. So I'm fine with the Rangers being third. Just like Adam said, the path to the playoffs for Pittsburgh is through the wild card. The division's too strong. Barring a catastrophic injury to one of the top three or something really odd happening, like Boston-esque, Pittsburgh's going to be the four, probably maybe between 4 and 5. I've got them 4. I think they're good enough where they're going to beat out a team right below them. But yeah, I got Pittsburgh number 4. They make the playoffs, but it's going to be grind all season. I've got the Islanders number 5. You guys have said it. I'm not going to elaborate, but their style's awful to watch. We're actually going to have an Islanders friend of the show join us in a few weeks here on the show, and he could talk to us about it then. But until then, Islanders, God, they're awful to watch. I've got CBJ at 6. I think they take a big enough step. They've got Line A, Gaudreau. They've got a couple good pieces. I'm excited to see what Kent Johnson and all the big boys bring from Michigan. Adam, you swayed me. I actually had Philly last. I didn't think they're going to be quite as bad. I had them 7th now. I moved them up a little bit. I think Philly, with the new team, has a little bit of hope. I could see them getting a hot streak here or there. Carter Hart gets hot. I had them 7th. And then Washington, man, they look brutal. I got Washington in dead last. Yeah, that's all I got for you.
So, looking at Cap Friendly's line predictor for New York, they predict a top line of Kreider, Zibanejad, Lafreniere, which I don't think Lafreniere is going to be up there, but
it depends on if he actually takes a step mid-season. They might try it out, and if he doesn't work out, he's going back to third line.
Which is where I would expect him to land. The second line is Panarin, Trocheck, Wheeler. Third line, Gaudreau, Keetle, and Kako. Fourth line, VC, Benino, Pitlick.
I would put Kako to start the season in Wheeler's spot. And if it doesn't work or Wheeler proves himself, I'd put Wheeler on the second line. But yeah, I like the Rangers. I don't know. I just think that they play a better overall game than what you guys want to give credit for. I do get bailed out by Shesterkin a lot.
I think they're staring down the shotgun. Sorry.
I should say better than Lance.
I was going to say, I'm a believer.
I know that you're bullish on the Penguins making that final last dance effort and everything, but you got to be realistic with the path that you get there. Once you get there, anything can happen. Look at
Ain't no shame in the wild card, baby. Ain't no shame in the wild card.
Ain't no shame in the wild card, man. There's no shame in it. Look at
as long as you get in, who cares?
From the wild card spot. Look at Florida this year making it to the Cup from the wild card 2 spot. That could have been your spot.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
we know.
On to the West for our final jaunt into the Pacific. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I get back into there we go.
All right, let it rip, Lance.
All right, number 1, Edmonton Oilers. McDavid, Draisaitl. That's it. They're gonna will him up there.
End of conversation.
Stu Skinner's gonna grow a mustache large enough to cover any holes in his goaltending, and they're just gonna dominate that division. Number 2, the Vegas Golden Knights. Speaking of goaltending, they have a better idea what they want their goaltending to be, so I think they're going to be higher than they were last year. Because didn't they go in as a 3rd last year?
Who, Vegas?
Yeah.
They were the number 1 team in the Pacific, my guy.
Oh, neat. Well, in that case, I think they're going down.
They had 111 points. They were the top team in the West.
I thought they were lower than that.
No, the third team in the Pacific was LA last year.
That's right, and that's why them and Edmonton faced off.
Yeah.
So third in my Pacific for this year is actually going to be Seattle. Because I think they're going to keep riding some of the momentum they had from last year and just keep getting better. One of the quote-unquote late bloomers, relatively, of the expansion franchises. Number 4, Calgary. I think they're going to get it figured out. Markstrom's not going to make as many stupid mistakes in goal. And they'll be able to get back up to 4, take the wild card 1 spot. Number 5, the Kings. I think a lot of my issue just has to do with their goaltending because it's Phoenix Copley and somebody else. I think that's going to cause them more problems than they can outscore. So I'm putting them at 5 with the wild card 2. Number 6, San Jose. Number 7, Vancouver. And number 8, Anaheim. I think those 3 I'll go without saying. And you guys might agree that 6 through 8 can be any combination of those 3. You know, there's not really I don't see a definitive loser in that division, but after 6, I think this is going to be one similar to the Met where it's going to be stacked 1 through 5, stacked dish 1 through 5, and then 6 through 8.
All right. Mine's going to be pretty similar. I'm going to say my number 1, just because I like their team game better. I'm going to say Vegas repeats as the in-season divisional winner.
Interesting.
I just think that it's just going to be you can't doubt the defending Stanley Cup champ. They didn't lose anyone really besides Riley, to you guys. They kept their goaltending intact.
One of them, was it Thompson went off to Winnipeg? Or is that Brossoit?
Brossoit. And he was like a goalie they didn't really get to use that much. The main goalies that they used in the playoffs are still there.
Yeah.
I like the team game that Vegas has already. They have the momentum. They're still in it in my mind. I like them better in the regular season. Now, Edmonton absolutely still can win it. I just like Vegas's depth and team game better. Number 2, I'm going to say Edmonton. They're interchangeable for me at 1 and 2. I just have Vegas edging them out. Number 3, I'm going to say Seattle as well. I think Seattle takes another step forward. I think LA is going to finish around the same spot as they did last year, but Seattle's just going to edge them out for the last Pacific spot. Number 4, I'm going to say, is LA. They might take a little bit of step back in terms of points just because Seattle is eating it up from them. Number 5, I'm going to see is going to be a more competitive Calgary Flames team. Mm-hmm. I think that Calgary is going to do a lot better than they did this year. They had a lot of overturn last year. They had a lot of player overturn last year, and they had a lot of management overturn this year. And for whatever reason, whenever you get a new coach, there's like the golden age of like the first couple months where everyone gets along and everything works out great and everyone is overperforming. And then they come to reality. Let's see what Calgary's reality is going to be. I think that they're going to play a lot better than they did last year. They massively underperformed. Jacob Markstrom is in my mind, sole reason the Flames did not make the playoffs last year. He is a complete disappointment last year. And if he does anything semblance of an NHL regular starter, he's okay. But anyway,
that's my point. If he does better, they're a playoff team.
Yeah, if Markstrom does better, they're a playoff team, even with some of the abysmal offensive performances they got last year. Number 6, I'm going to say, is Vancouver. I don't think they're bottom of the division. They're definitely not Anaheim or San Jose. San Jose is only going to take a giant step back. They are not going to be fun hockey to watch if you're a Sharks fan. It's not going to be fun in San Jose. Your only redeeming quality for your team was 100-point scoring Erik Karlsson, and guess where he's at now? Across the entire continental United States. Congratulations. You have earned a ticket to the top 5 NHL draft picks of the 2024 season. Hope
You've earned a ticket to pain.
Yep. And at number 8, I'm going to say Anaheim. Honestly, I'm going to switch that on the spot. Same reasons that I just said. San Jose, number 8. Number 7, I think that Anaheim takes a slight step forward, but they're still developing, and I want to see a little bit more out of their developing prospects. I want to see Zegras have a 75-point season.
All right. I like that list. I'm going to get a little bit of heat for my list. I can tell you that right now.
All right, I'm ready.
I'm going Edmonton top. That's really not that divisive, I don't think. I like it. I mean, come on. If they get anything sub or post 800 goaltending, they're fine. Seattle is my second team. I do like Seattle again. I think they're high scoring enough where it doesn't really matter in a division that doesn't play defense. Vegas is third. Could easily flip flop those. But yeah, Vegas third. Just think that we have to see what Aiden Hill really is and what Logan Thompson really is over a full season. I have Calgary fourth. I like Calgary. Like Adam said, they're going to get that new team bump. Craig Conroy's got his magic working. I literally don't even know the coach's name, but I think it'll be interesting. What's it?
Isn't it still Daryl Sutter?
No, he's gone.
Some guy. It's Ryan Huska. It's Ryan Huska. I just thought it just came to me in a dream. Ryan Huska. So I think they'll get a little bump there. I have Anaheim next. Now, based on my previous rankings, just listen. Based on my previous rankings for the other division, they're not a wild card because my wild cards are in the other division. But
did I miss like 3 or 4 teams?
No, I have Anaheim number 5. I think they're going to take a step. I think John Gibson, and he's going to play a lot better than he did because he's going to be motivated. I think you're going to see the emergence of some young defensive talent. Maybe Pavel Mintyukov, maybe Jamie Drysdale takes a big step, and maybe Owen Zellweger. I like what Anaheim's got cooking. They're not a playoff team yet, but they're gonna have some motivated stars, kind of new coach, and from what I understand, their new coach is kind of like a motivator by trade. I like what he brings, so I got Anaheim. I'm not backing down. I'm taking Anaheim 5. My 6th spot, I've got LA. I am one of the few people on this earth who do not believe in LA. I don't like their system. I don't think they're built for the playoffs. I think they're quite honestly a flash in the pan. I don't believe in their goaltending. I don't think it's all that good. They're aging, and yet they're trying to kind of use a new build at the same time. I don't buy it. I've got Vancouver 7th. I could easily see them taking that 6th spot as well. It doesn't really matter. They're not a playoff team yet to me unless something crazy happens, which I could see them sneaking in if some things go right. But really, it's just kind of like they're in the mushy middle. What are you? We'll find out. I've got San Jose dead last. I saw the D pairs the other day, and my God, that team is going to be bad. Like, we're not even talking.
It's going to be glorified AHL hockey.
It's not even bottom 5. It's the bottom. Like, you'd have to. It's going to, like, you guys know that meme from SpongeBob? You're of a certain age, right? Where it's Squidward and SpongeBob with anchors on their back. Like, who's going to finish, like, last? Like,
yeah. And there he goes.
I love that he froze on this. If your screen is frozen, I want a zoom in of him.
I think we have I'll see how far I can blow it up because we might have a good thumbnail for this.
We might have our thumbnail. As he's explaining a meme to as he is dealing with whatever the heck he's dealing with, I'm gonna get trivia pulled up.
Oh, that's a good one. I was trying to think of one for this week so that we could get back to some of the trivia.
I don't know about you, but hockey trivia.
I don't think I've really played a lot of Puckdoku recently.
I played today's for the first one in a couple days because I was super busy. Hey, Chris, I segued us into trivia.
All right, so anchors and boulders.
I guess you guys couldn't hear me. I did hear you, though. Okay. Let me just pull this up. Can you see me? Am I okay?
Yeah, we can see you now. You're not frozen.
Okay. Yeah, grab trivia for us. We're not doing Puckdoku this week, right? Just trivia?
I mean, we can show off our Doku boards for today if you want. I don't know.
All right, let's do trivia first. I'm fine with skipping Doku this week. We do it enough. I'm Doku'd out for the night. I took like 6 hours to do that forward.
So let's leave it here with the divisions then. We won't go into my potential playoff brackets because then it just becomes craziness.
No. We'll skip that until a different day.
Yeah. So let me get out of this and hit the button. There we go. But yeah, no. My last note before we change from that with the Pacific Division is, man, I just want hockey to do better in California. I feel like there's such a big market that isn't getting reached because the California teams just struggle their way through so many years. And it's like the NHL could do so much better if the California teams could just bring it together and win. And that's one of the reasons I was bummed when Chicago got the first overall pick. Was I really wanted it to go to Anaheim or San Jose.
All right. What's your trivia, Mr. Shumgart?
All right. So this is old-timey NHL trivia. So I'm sorry, Lance, if you have no shot to get this.
It's all right.
So, as many people may not know, because I did not know until this came up in my YouTube shorts, and if your YouTube shorts are anything like mine, you might actually know the answer to this question. So, before the NHL had a sudden death overtime, they would play the entire period. And you just kept scoring. And if the game got tied back up, it would either, depending on the era, be a tie, or they would extend the overtime period. But if a goal was scored in the first minute of overtime back in like the 1930s NHL, you kept playing until the overtime period was done. This man, there has been one person before the sudden death overtime rule was put into play who scored an overtime hat trick. Who was it?
You're going to need to give a much broader hint than that.
He is a Toronto Maple Leaf from the 1930s. He is the only NHL player to score a hat trick.
Babe die.
Nope. He only had 41 career points, and 3 of those goals came in one overtime period.
How many years was his career? Just out of sheer curiosity.
41 points in his career.
Was it Peanuts O'Flaherty?
How long did he play?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, let's go Peanuts.
O'Flaherty.
No.
Can I get some initials that may help me out a little bit?
KD.
Hey D.
K as in like Kevin. And D is in Drake.
D is in
I have absolutely no idea.
Was it Kevin Drake?
No.
Oh, okay.
His name is Ken Doherty.
Oh yeah, right on the tip of my tongue. Do you have any better trivia that isn't that?
No, it was so awesome though. The man scored a hat trick in overtime.
Trivia is meant for you to know. Trivia's not meant for you to have an obscure fact.
Hey,
when I give you guys
trivia is made for me to learn.
I'm pulling up a trivia question. We're not going out on that note.
Just pull up the Pakdoku board from today.
No.
Speaking of, I'm happy that both of us played Sandus Olsenich for Colorado, 500 plus points.
I don't think I looked at today's Pakdoku. Even though you guys sent it in chat, I didn't really look closely at it.
Hang on. Okay. All right, I got a good one. I just gotta type it into my search bar here. All right, here we go. All right, there are how many? Let me see how many individuals there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, there are 12 players in NHL history to record 8 points or more in a single game. Could you find me 6 of them?
8 points or more in a single game?
Yes.
I can't even think of anybody that I've seen play in the modern era that's done that.
There is one player in the modern era to do it.
What do you define as modern?
In the 2010s plus.
Okay.
Adam, give me guesses to start.
Lemieux.
Lemieux is one. Lemieux actually has a
Trottier.
point of view. Trottier is another one, yes.
All right, sweet. Rocket Richard.
That's another one, yes.
Sweet.
Gretzky.
That's another one, that's 4.
You know what? Who I'm going to throw out there, because every time I mention him in Pakdoku, you're just like, he's not a real person. You say it about his brother, but I'm going to say Peter Stastny had that.
That's another one, that's 5.
Go. Let's go another Stastny. Anton did
That
it.
is 6. All right, now I'll go till you miss it. I need another one.
Oh shoot! I was gonna Adam. What do you think about Marcel Dion? Yay, nay?
I don't think he did.
Okay.
I'm gonna need an
Who are you
answer.
thinking for the
You wanna know
2010s or later?
You want to know who might have as a real off-the-cuff person, and Chris, you might not even know him. I want to say Bernie Nichols.
That is 7.
Let's fucking
I specifically, I will tell you the rest of the list, but I want you to get the number 1, which you have not gotten, and the most recent.
Number 1.
With 10 points in a game.
10 points in a game. Wait, I feel like I know this. I feel like we might have talked.
It is Sidney Crosby's nickname, by the way, not Syndicate. His nickname is after this person. Leaf legend.
That doesn't help me.
Okay. Or the most recent one. I'm kind of hoping one of you guys gets the most recent one.
The 10. I'm gonna go for the 10.1. You said it was a Leaf, right?
Yeah.
Then it's got to be Daryl Sittler.
No, that is the number 1 player. 10 points in a game. Can you give me the most recent one? Because you won't get the other 2 guys. I don't think.
How many points did the most recent one have? Was it 8, 9?
8. I'll tell you the date. February 2nd, 2012 for the Oilers was who scored it.
Oh, it was Gagne. I remember that.
Sam Gagne, number 9. All right.
I remember that popping up.
Do you think you can get the final 3?
Did we say coffee?
We have not said coffee yet.
I'm sorry. That is, yes,
seems
coffee
like a man
is there.
do that.
Yeah, so
all right.
Now there's 3. My apologies. Now there's 3.
Yager didn't.
Yager, is that your guess? Are you going Yager?
He did not. I'm saying Yager did not.
I'm gonna give you a timer because we're running short on time. So give me a name here.
What's the other real high scoring defenseman? There's coffee. There's somebody above coffee. Shit.
Potvin? Are you thinking of Potvin?
You're not. I don't think Bork did.
No, Bork would have been the one I was thinking of.
I need at least a guess. I need somebody to throw a guess out there.
I don't know, because once we're out of the modern era and like
none of these guys
we're out of my range.
Can you give me for the last 2 when they played, and I'll tell you if I can get it.
54, 77, and 88.
88.
You're not going to get him. I have never heard of this person in my life.
I don't know then.
So
because I already said Bernie Nichols.
I'm
going to buzz you. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say one of the Phil Esposito. He's the last name I can think of.
So
he should have been in the 70s, but not.
So the player you missed was Patrick Sundstrom with the Devils.
Isn't hype.
And those were scored in a playoff game.
Oh,
damn!
That's pretty neat.
You missed from 77, Tom Bladon from the Flyers, and the oldest player besides Maurice Richard on this list is 1954 Montreal Canadiens Bert Olmsted. He's probably the only one I would have even heard of. I've never heard of the other 2, but that is the scoring list.
Neat.
Yeah,
I got at least one.
And Lemieux, fun fact, has the most games with 8+ points with 3 games. So.
Or wait, did I get 2?
You got 2. You got Gretzky and Richard, I think. Adam did kind of carry.
That was it.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
I can live with that.
Now, I do have one more real trivia if you want it. It's one person.
Okay,
you can either give me the number or the person. Now, going off of most points in a game, what NHL goalie has the most saves in one game? You could either give me the total number of saves or the person.
Ben Scrivens.
Nope.
No, was this the one that was just set in Columbus and Tampa Bay a couple of years ago?
It was
really?
Not.
Give us our hint.
Your hint is that it was for the Quebec Nordiques. And he retired in 2004.
It's not that Stefan guy, right?
Nope.
He said most
I
saves,
forgot
right?
that until I looked it up just right now. I didn't even know he ever played for the Nordiques.
Okay, it's definitely not Wah.
Who would he have played for?
Well, never even played for the Nordiques. He only played for Colorado.
Who would he have played for most commonly?
Think of the Habs.
Let me look him up. Let me look this dude up.
Like, was he a good player? Like, did he have
He
some
was
clout?
good. He was good. I used him recently in Puck Doku, and you said he was a good shout. Teams that he played for the Quebec Nordiques, the Oilers, the Ducks, the Canadians, the Senators, the Penguins,
Is it
the Blue Jackets, and the
Is it
Stars.
Tabarici?
Nope. He was a journeyman goalie. Holy crap.
Not Tugnut. I don't know. Jan Danis? No, he was 2008.
What was it? Was it not Ron Tugnut?
I got nothing.
It wasn't Ron Tugnut.
What it wasn't? Are you sure? Because it very much was
Ron Tugnut.
Yeah, it was Ron Tugnut.
Let's go.
You sure about that?
How many saves? How many saves was it?
76.
70 on the dot.
Oh wait, check that stat because Hasek had a 70 save shutout.
No shot. Because I look up NHL most saves in a game and it says 70 Ron Tugnut with the Quebec Nordiques.
I could have sworn that Tampa Bay Columbus game that went on for 5 overtimes.
And keep in mind, this is not for a shutout. It is just most saves in a game.
Yeah.
I'm double checking my facts.
I'm double checking it right now. Yeah, Ron Tugnut with 70 saves.
Yeah, you're right.
1991 for the Quebec Nordiques in a 3-3 overtime draw. Wow, imagine making 70 saves and not even winning or losing.
Fun fact, in a shutout, it was Ben Scrivens at 59. Just a fun fact.
Yes.
Anyways.
Then he went out and wrote a book called The Art of Goaltending or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Oh, God. That
all right,
game.
well,
let's call it.
Gentlemen, good show. We'll see you back here next week. I may not be here next week, so we might need somebody to fill in the hosting duties for a week.
I would argue that, Adam, is it only looking at regular season?
Yes, it was only regular season.
Okay, so I missed that
If it's including postseason, I'm sorry if that record no longer stands.
Yeah, because Tampa Bay, that game I was just talking about, Tampa Bay had 88 shots.
True.
All right. Anyways, we got to wrap it here, boys. It was a good show. We'll see you here next week, and well, maybe I will. We'll see. And as they say in Poland,
see ya.
Bye.
That's Strovia.